before you take the actual decision. In today's webinar, we will talk about a business opportunity with Vaikuntha Hostels. Vaikuntha Hostels is a professionally managed hostel and co-living brand built on a strong foundation of trust, system, and a 26 years legacy. It is not a trend-driven concept, but a necessity-based, recurring income business designed to serve the growing demand for quality student and the working professionals accommodation in India. The brand focuses on delivering a comfortable, safe, and home-like living experience with hostel-level affordability and hotel-grade services. From fully managed accommodation to essential services like food, housekeeping, security, community living, Vaikuntha creates a complete ecosystem for its residents. Backed by the Vaikuntha and Venkatesh Group, the business is structured as a scalable real estate plus operational model, ensuring consistent occupancy and a long-term sustainability. The brand is now offering a business opportunity to be a part of their successful journey. And to talk about the same, I'm joined with the Honorable Aditya Raj Sharma, who is the Managing Director of Vaikuntha, hostels, along with his team. We have Alankar Mathur, who's the franchise manager, and Geeta, she is the manager POC. But before I invite Aditya to talk more about the brand and the business opportunity, I would like to inform all the viewers that we also have a great opportunity to put all your queries directly to the managing director who's with us today. He's going to help you, all your queries, whatever questions you will have related to the brand or the business. So my request is to please keep on posting your queries into the Q&A box, and we will take them up during the webinar. Now, may I request Aditya to take the lead? Let's get started. A little bit of your introduction, and then we will move on to our presentation part. Yeah, over to you, Aditya.
Thank you very much, Bharat. Very warm good afternoon to one and all. It is indeed a warm afternoon, especially in the northern part of India. We're experiencing a very heat wave. But I'd like to introduce myself, and you very rightly introduced Bharat. Vaikuntha Group has been functional in 5 sectors, in education, hospitality, real estate, media, and F&B. And it has been functional for the last 26 years. In education, we've been functional by the name of Sri Venkatesh Group of Institutes. In hospitality, Vaikuntha Hotels and Vaikuntha Hostels. Then in real estate, again by the name of Vaikuntha Developers. We've been, developing commercial real estate for a good long time. And then comes the media company, which is Vision Media Private Limited. And finally, Prasadam Restaurants, which is like, a buzz right now, South Indian restaurants as well. Vaikuntha Hostels, is a premium hostel category, Bharat. And to all the viewers right now who are listening to me, already know a lot about hospitality. Even if they believe they don't know, they already know about hospitality. Let me share you, a brief idea about how hospitality is growing currently in India. If we, bifurcate metros, tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3, for the majority aspect of this country, 60% of the population is below 35, which means that either this population is studying, is into schools or colleges, or is into, they are a working professional. So they've just initiated their work. In all of these cases, they would be either traveling, which means hotels, or otherwise they would be staying, in which case they would require an accommodation, they would require food, they would require laundry. And if I tell you the figures, hospitality is growing at a humongous pace of more than 10% CAGR in multiple places of the country. But even if not 10%, they are growing at a pace of 5% to 7% at uniform level across the country, which means hospitality sector, has tremendous scale. When the river is flowing in a particular direction, and if we flow with the river, it's quite easier to swim. But if we flow against the river, it's quite difficult. This perspective shift really makes us understand what sector is growing and, in which direction the population of the country, the growth of the country is headed towards. When we understand this hospitality sector at scale, then we understand there is a possibility into hotels, hostels. But I'll tell you what, when it comes to engagement of time as an entrepreneur, we have to, weigh it not in terms of just the business opportunity, but in terms of time, money, and energy. When it comes to Vaikuntha hostels, it's a complete source of passive income in which we don't have to engage any amount of time. We just have to invest certain amount of money so that we can, kickstart it. And the effort involved is almost minimal, zero. Sometimes it's minimal, sometimes it's zero. How does that happen? We'll deep dive into it in the coming few minutes. But this is a brief overview of the hospitality sector and how hostel creates a passive income, but not just in the passive way, but in an active manner through Vaikuntha hostels. As I said, Vaikuntha hostels is a premium category of hostels. So it is for students as well as working professionals who are staying away from their home. The tagline of Vaikuntha hostels, as we say, is a home, a premium home away from home, a luxurious home away from home. So not just that you don't remember the home, but you love the place just as good as your home. You are in a particular community, a community of good people. You do not need to worry about the food. You do not need to worry about the laundry. You do not need to worry about the housekeeping and the cleaning. And you can relax and completely focus on the task on which you are supposed to be there. For example, if you're in a city, you're studying for your coaching or for your college, or let's say you're working for something, then in that case, you can just focus on that. Moving forward, there are 7 core functions of business. There is, marketing, finance, HR, IT, legal, ops, and the architecture. In all of these 7 core functions of business, Vaikuntha hostels provide a hand-holding support. So how the architecture should be from the exterior, how the interior must be there so that we can create that premium and that expensive premium look, but also without burning a hole in our pocket, you know. So creating that architecture, all the designs are provided, all the color combinations, the color codes are provided. Moving forward in the marketing aspect, the entire graphic designing, digital marketing and videos are completely taken care, by the brand HO. So the entire designing with regard to the application form and something as small as the merchandises, like what the uniforms should be, how the brand should be there on the billboards, hoardings, pamphlet, brochure, flyers, so on and so forth. So all of the complete graphic designing, which covers almost 50 to 80 points, promotional posts, launch posts, so on and so forth. Digital marketing 1 month prior to the launch and 1 month post to the launch, so that there is an entire buzz in the city and everybody gets to know for once that Vaikuntha Hostels is now in, for example, Nagpur. So in a similar way, the graphic designing, digital marketing, and videos, which are high definition videos created by best of the best in the industry, and which showcases and creates a buzz and a virality around the brand. All of this is taken care by the brand HO. I would request Geeta to just showcase a quick snapshot of the designs and the videos, if you can, please. You can play it again. Okay, you can, Geeta, you can just showcase the service list as well a little bit. Are you facing any issues in that?
Just a minute, yes.
Yeah. So how all of these things are supposed to be designed, all of the brand guidelines, so on and so forth, are provided by the HR. Okay. So, well, this is, I would request Bharat so that I can showcase a few more things. Okay, you can stop that, and we'll be showcasing the brochure and other things. Is the brochure visible? Is it visible?
Yeah, it is visible. Let's run through this, which will give us a structured, the knowledge.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And at the
So
same time,
as you can see right
so your
now,
voice is a little less. I mean, if you could be a bit loud.
is it any better now?
Yeah, make it full, I think.
It's already full actually. So
Okay.
okay. So basically, this is the model of the hostel that we already have. Three hostels are currently standalone hostels that are running in Indore, and these hostels have 100% occupancy. But I think something more important than that is these hostels got filled up in 21 days from their initiation. So when they were launched, 21 days is the amount of time that got to fill it up. The reason was the pricing was designed in a manner that it will not burn a hole in the pocket for a student or a working professional. Number one. Number two, the exterior and the interior are designed in a manner which are functional, looking premium, but not completely expensive in order to, put on the pricing on the pedal. So as you can see, Vaikuntha Hostels is completely about rethinking what hostel life should feel like. It should not be a hassle. It should not be bad food, as we have all experienced throughout once in a while in our journeys of life. And it should be comfortable. It should be a place where goals feel achievable and environment feels comfortable, so on and so forth. The vision and mission is very clear to become a network of premium community-driven hostels, providing safe, hygienic and smart accommodation. And this is created for the new India, especially the Gen Z, as everybody knows, is coming from a generation of comfort. It is not coming from a generation of dearth and scarcity. A generation prior came from a complete scarcity point of view, and they just wanted something to get along. But the coming generation, especially, in the current day and age, especially the ones who are parents would understand, are coming from a place of comfort. And that's why, these things really resonate with them. So these are the things. Moving forward, so marketing support is provided from HO, but then again, a proper app is provided to manage your finances. The complete finance structure and the operation structure of Vaikuntha Hostels is visible on a single tap of a app, which is Vaikuntha Hostels app, which is provided, in which you can see you might be in the city or you might be abroad, but you can see the entire operations of the hostel, how much raw material was, came in for the mess, how much was, cooked, how much is remaining, how many students are, filling up the occupancy, and what amount of fees is remaining, how much has been received. You can send a reminder from a single tap. You have different access for the owner, for the manager of the hostel, for the warden, so on and so forth. You can align and delegate tasks. You can keep a track of it. It's a very thorough, in fact, we can go ahead to say it's one of the most sophisticated. Why I'm saying it's the most sophisticated is because you can actually turn on the lights and turn off the lights for your hostel rooms sitting away far off lands. So you can, from a tap of a single click, turn on lights. It's a special revenue, prevention system, a revenue leakage prevention that we have installed in there. So that, let's say, we are owning a hostel in, let's say, any part of the country, let's say Raipur, and we have a house in Bhopal. Okay. So the manager might not be able to just give the room to anybody without putting in the entry in the accounts. So it will only start, the lights would only start when you would tap on the app. And you have the permission, the manager has the permission to turn on the lights and give the access. Number one. Number two is that every room has got a separate meter so that students cannot complain, the people living there cannot complain that this room is consuming, an AC and they are having a different electricity bills, but we are paying for them. So every room is paying for itself and that bill is visible on the app. So every person living in the hostel will see his individual electricity bill on the app itself. Then we move ahead. The leakage of electricity is also controlled by the app itself. So for example, it's a practical problem and we have got the experience of it for doing it for so long. Students actually forget to turn off the geyser. Something very practical, I'm telling you. But this builds up the entire hostel. So we can turn off the hostel geysers at a fixed time. So let's say it's functional from 8 to 10. We have fixed the time duration. 10 a.m. it's closed for everybody from the app itself. So all of this automation has been done in the app itself so as to prevent there any sort of revenue leakage, prevent and cut down the cost, manage the cost efficiently, increase the revenue, collection of the payments automated so that you can collect the payment without any hassle. You don't need to, we can just send a reminder from a single tap. That reminder has the QR code of our bank account of our hostel and it comes down directly. All things are automated in the app itself. So this was the finance support. Then comes the HR part. So in the HR part, entire training is provided for, let's say if there is a manager, the manager, if there is a warden, manager, warden, the housekeeping cleaning staff, to the owner of the Vaikuntha hostels, a complete detailed training is provided with regard to the software as well, with regard to operations as well, how to manage the operations, how to manage the sales, marketing, occupancy, so on and so forth. Agreements are done for 11 months for all the students. It can be done for as minimum as 6 months as well. Proper deposits, rules, regulations, everything is pre-decided. And, the pricing is decided on the basis of the locality and the city. So the pricing is different. So this was all about HR. A printed training system is given to you. It's there in the PPT as well and in the video format as well, so that we can revisit the training in print, in PPT and in video format again and again, n number of times, multiple times. After the HR part comes IT and legal. So what all things are required in the IT? For example, a computer, a printer, camera systems, all of these things are required. Intercom systems for the mess and all of these. This proper checklist is provided in which we understand completely, what IT and legal norms to follow on a local basis, on a pan-India level basis, so that we never get into any sort of trouble, big or small, with regard to anything, with regard to the students, with regard to any laws. So this is all about the architecture, marketing, finance, HR, IT, legal, and then finally comes the operations part. How do we manage the operations? How do we really get to know what's going on in the hostel even if we are not present there? What all tasks are given to the staff? How do we track them? How do we tick them off? What are the long-term, short-term goals? What all things a staff needs to do on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, 6 monthly, annual basis. Everything they would know in English and Hindi so that they can understand it completely. So we must be professional in our approach, but we must not lose the practical aspect of, the ground. So that, they can read in Hindi as well, they can read in English as well, because they would be there on the ground, they would be the foot on soldiers, they would be managing the property. And all documentation with regard to the appointments, all of that is also provided, so on and so forth. So this was a brief overview There are so many things that really cannot be told in a small session, to be honest. But um, in-depth support is provided, 360-degree end-to-end, so as it's not a franchisee, but it's more like partnership of providing a premium hospitality experience to everybody who comes to us. There is also an added aspect of providing B2B big contracts. So, for example, we have got multiple contracts with, big coachings. I wouldn't name, but big IAS coaching institutes, big coaching institutes for IIT, so on and so forth. The biggest in the country, we all know the names. For all of these big coaching centers, big colleges, we have tie-ups as well, which we provide on a case-to-case basis, on a location-to-location basis, which really helps us to fill the occupancy very soon. So, for example, just the example I told some time back was this 21-day filling up. That was because we had, agreements, which empowered us to fill this, hostel in a very short span of time. This really helps, to make it successful and provide us a very quick revenue in a very short span of time. So, this was all about it. All in all, we need to understand that whenever we are investing into a business, it must have three very important aspects and metrics. These three metrics are paramount, in order to get into a business. We need to check these first. First is it must have vitamin M, which is vitamin money. It must have a sound ROI. If the ROI is not sound, then there is really, it's not a worthwhile experience. Second is it must have a prestige associated with it. Business and work consumes a majority time of our life. And it is very prudent then that it must have an element of prestige. The brand we are associating with, the group that we are associating with must be prestigious, known, and it must bring prestige to our life. And finally, that business must be hassle-free. If it is filled with hassles, it's like we have brought in an elephant in our house and we don't know how to manage it. So there must be proper systems, SOPs, procedures in place right from day one, so that we are not starting from scratch. We are not recreating the wheel, but we know the systems of how it can be done excellently. So these are the three core metrics, and Vaikuntha Hostel specifically is built around and engineered around all of these three metrics, so as to bring all of these three things. I'll very quickly also go through, the financial model, so that we can understand a bit more better about. Is the financial model visible?
Yeah, visible.
So there are three categories of hostels that we can create. First is a deluxe property, second is an executive hostel, and third one is a superior property. These are just nomenclatures. Whenever a property is created, Vaikuntha provides a name to it, and there are 50 odd names, which there's a proper list from which we can choose. For example, I'll tell you what. One hostel of Vaikuntha Hostel has the name of Saket House. Saket is the abode of Lord Rama. Then one hostel, and our girls' hostel's name is Nikunj House. So Nikunj is the abode, as they say in the scriptures, is the abode of Radharani. Okay, so these are interesting names, which are rooted in Indian values as well, but very professional in working. The names of the rooms are also there. So, for example, if it's a girls' hostel, the rooms would be having the names of, let's say, tulip, bluebells, the names of all the flowers, okay, rose, lotus, so on and so forth. So deluxe, executive, and superior, these are the three kind of properties that can be created in Vaikuntha hostels. It can be built on 1500 square feet, 2400 square feet, and 3000 square feet. A total investment here is around 25 lakhs, 40 lakhs, and 50 lakhs, which is inclusive of the painting, partitions, wall arts, plumbing, etc. Now, these figures 25 lakhs, 40 lakhs, and 50 lakhs is considered from the point of view that we have just a bare shell civil structure. If we don't have a civil structure, we have a proper system already created. We have got rooms, okay? We have got rooms, we have got the tiling done, plumbing done, all of these things are done already, then this cost is not going to be there. This can come down as low as 10 lakh rupees as well, okay? This is inclusive of the entire furniture, franchise fees, pre-launch marketing. We need to market as well for our hostel. This is inclusive of that. 50,000 rupees for deluxe, for executive, and for superior. This amount is kept for marketing, as you can see here. Licenses and permits, branding and signage. Furniture is taken into account. Furniture includes all the beds, the mattresses, almiras, bookshelf. Every student has their own personalized bookshelf, personalized storage space. They have a personalized soft board as well, so that they can, paste all the things and our walls don't get spoiled up. Okay. And all of these things are, covered in the structure. As I said, 25, 40, and 50, if it's a complete bare shell civil structure without tiling, without plumbing, without anything. But if let's say it's all done, then it can come down to as close as 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs, 25 lakhs, so on and so forth, depending upon the rooms. Then bed capacity can be 30 to 35 in a 1500 square feet space. It can be 45 to 50, and it can be 60 to 65 for 3000. The average bed value changes with metros tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. But it cannot be less than 9,000, 8,000, 9,000, and 10,000. This is because we are in the premium category and we can fill it up at this price point quite easily. So if let's say there is a good property with a good location in the epicenter of education and corporate space, then for sure these pricing can work completely fine. This is inclusive of food, this is inclusive of housekeeping, but not inclusive of laundry, which is provided as a service. Okay, that can be charged as well. Average monthly sales, as you can see, can be anywhere between 270. It has to be 270, 4 and 540. Why am I saying it has to be? That's the beauty of being in a passive business. Once you fill it up, the revenue is predictable. The revenue is sustainable. We know it right from the beginning how much we are going to earn in the next 12 months. It's not like it's good in it's really good in some parts of the days and not good in the other part of the day or in the week, so on and so forth. So this is how it really works. And if we move ahead, the cost and expenses associated are like this. So with regard to the food, this is the food costing. A fixed royalty is there of 1,000 rupees per room. Okay. So a fixed royalty is there. Even if that room is occupied, non-occupied, it's completely full, or it has got a premium pricing, whatever the pricing is, the pricing is pegged at 1,000 rupees per room. And food costing, all of these expenses are cut down. Average staff salary is also taken into account. If let's say we have a staff of 6 people, 8 people, or 10 people, and average salary is this much, we are just gonna have a monthly staff salary of around 90,000 rupees. And 15,000 is taken on a higher end. Even for wardens, for housekeeping, it is as low as sometimes 8,000 to 10,000 rupees as well. Okay. And the break even comes in 42 months, 36 and 36 months. If we cut down on the costing part, it is going to be coming very soon. If we're going to cut down on the costing part of the investment, the upfront investment, it's going to be even quicker. But 42 months, 36 months, and 36 is the standard. It can come down to as low as 36, 24, 24, or 24 straight up for everyone. but it will not go lower than that because, quite honestly, it's a passive source of income. It's not a complete active source of income. And we have to understand this aspect of the business. We don't have to really work day in and day out for this income payout. It's a premium income payout, works like an active business, but it's a passive source of income for the owner. So this is how Vaikuntha Hostels really works. As you can see, in a very professional, a very methodical manner, all these financial models are created by best of the best people in the industry pan India. And this is how it is about the financial aspect and about the entire operations of how Vaikuntha really works. As you can check from the name Vaikuntha, Vaikuntha is something, deeply aspirational. Vaikuntha is something spiritual. And the meaning of Vaikuntha is a place without any insecurities, without any inhibitions, a place of complete bliss. As we say, it's the abode of Lord Vishnu. So this is what we wish to create as an experience for all our customers, for all the students, that the hostel living must not be a living which is having a complete scarcity. No good food, no laundry, no cleaning, no nothing. It should be a standardized, beautiful experience, cost effective for the customer, for the students who are living there, cost effective for us as well. And meanwhile, we create a holistic business around. And that bhav, that satvikta is also there in the entire group as well, and in this brand as well. So, this was all about it. Bharat.
Right. Thank you so much, Aditya. I absolutely agree with you. Right. We have said the scene, the overall presentation, and I can see, what you are trying to offer. This is absolutely fantastic. In case if you look into this Indian market right now, I mean, uh, we absolutely see a very clear and there's a strong opportunity. Every year, lakhs of students and working professionals move to new cities for education, the job. But when they reach there, the biggest problem that they face is the funding, finding the safe, clean, and reliable place to stay. Even today, most of the market is handled by the local PGs and unorganized hostels where there's no consistency in the terms of the quality, the food, and the security. And that's exactly where the gap is. Almost 70 to 75% of this market is still unorganized, which makes there is a huge space for branded, professionally managed players to come in and standardize the overall experience. It is just not the metro cities, but also in tier two and three cities are growing very fast. These locations actually gives you a lower investments, fast break even, and the better margins. So if you're looking at it simply, this is not a trend-based business. This is a daily necessity. People will always need accommodation, and when you combine the high demand, the low organized supply, and reoccurring income, it becomes a very stable and scalable business opportunity for long term. And that is what Vaikuntha Hostels is providing.
Apart from this, yes.
Yeah.
Apart from this, there is an expertise, knowledge, skill, and experience, that we gain from a lot of time. And, being in the cusp of education as well as real estate, we exactly know what the students are really looking for.
Absolutely.
A long time. How it can be created from a real estate point of view, and how and what students really require. For example, I'll tell you a very small framework, which we use in hospitality. It's going to be a really good learning for all the people who have joined. It's the latch framework. If the location is good for the hostel, let's say if it's in the education epicenter, or if let's say it's in the corporate epicenter, if the location is nice, almost 60% of the job is done.
True.
Then comes the ambience part. If the ambience, the first look, when we enter into the hostel, it must feel completely exuberant, something very nice, having some fragrance, some beautiful look. And the parents must feel positive, the student must feel secure, and they must feel nice. That comes the ambience part. Then comes the taste. How is the food? The menu fixed. Like for example, in Vaikuntha hostels, we have got fixed menu. From Monday to Saturday, what a student must need in his diet, all the macro and micronutrients, it's designed by the dietitian itself. So a proper thali must be there, a sattvic thali with very less oil. I'm talking about from the other point of view as well. All of these things really matter. If that taste is good, the people are not just going to stick, they're going to tell 100 other people about your hostel. Then comes the consistency part. All of these things must be consistent. It's not that one
Absolutely.
day we have got good taste, one day we are having very good cleanliness in our hostel, the other day it's a complete into shambles. Shouldn't be like that.
True.
Consistency. And finally comes hospitality. We must have that fervor of service. If somebody is coming to our property, they are our guests, they are not just customers. And
That's beautiful.
that guest is God philosophy, or they are our students, our children, or our working professionals. All of that must be there. When we follow this latch framework, we can't really go wrong. If we have got a good intent, professionalism in work, today or tomorrow, it's really gonna boom up. And
True.
that's the thing. And we are finalizing allocations very quickly for multiple cities. We had received from a very long time back, we had been receiving franchise applications because people had visited to the hostels. They were having a good experience. They wanted to replicate in their cities.
Mhm.
So many applications we had received from a good long time, but now we have got a very proper structured SOP and a team to align by it. So we are finalizing allocations for multiple cities very soon.
Aditya, we also have a few questions in the Q&A in case if you would like to take them up.
Sure.
So, would you like to read it or you want me to read it for you?
Well, do we have the question in the chat bot, right?
There is a chat as well as in Q&A.
Well, I'm not able to see it in the chat part.
Okay, you have the Q&A also. So the first question is like, what is the average student or the customer monthly pay for the hostel? And does it also include the fooding? What is the fooding options available at the hotel or the hostel?
Perfect. So the price point is anywhere between 7,000 rupees to 15,000 rupees, depending upon is it in metro, tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3. Is it having an AC option? So for example, let's say we are having 21 rooms, out of which we will create one floor of it as AC. Or we can choose, the owner chooses, not the brand. Vaikuntha Hostel does not choose. The owner, the franchise partner has to choose, do I want to make a AC hostel, a complete non-AC hostel, and the pricing is dependent upon that. We can choose a hybrid of both as well. But for example, we are currently functional in non-AC hostels only. And in a non-AC hostel with a good food, anywhere the pricing in tier 2 has to be between 8,000 rupees to 12,000 rupees. Higher for metros and tier 1. This price is inclusive of food, inclusive of housekeeping, but not inclusive of laundry. So that laundry part is on a chargeable basis, but that service is very easy to provide, and it's again without any hassles. That's it.
True. The second question I would like to take, like how many rooms can be developed in 3,000 square feet of model, excluding dining areas, reception, washroom? Are these rooms have attached washroom or what is this the standard room sharing, two, three, or four?
Yeah. So there are multiple categories of rooms. First is with balcony, second is without balcony. Then comes double sharing, triple sharing, and single sharing. Okay, single rooms. So the room rates are going to be different for with balcony double sharing, with balcony triple sharing, without balcony double sharing, without balcony triple sharing. Okay, and for single sharing, the prices vary. In a 3,000 square feet land, a total of, apart from all the utility areas that have been shared here, a almost you can consider 45 to 55 rooms can be built. Properly, a 3,000 square foot property, an amazing hostel can be built in which there is a proper play zone, a proper mess, a small meditation room, okay, meditation or yoga room. It's going to be so bespoke with all the interiors, so on and so forth, that it's going to be a highlight of the city. People would be
Absolutely.
flocking in to come into that hostel, and you would be having a lineup for, okay, we don't have a room, we don't have a space, just like we do currently.
The third question is, do these hostels have designated wings for men and women, or are exclusively for, say, men or women?
So there are two categories. First is Vaikuntha hostels, then comes the
Okay.
Vaikuntha corporate. When we talk about Vaikuntha hostels, it has got a Vaikuntha boys hostel, and then comes the Vaikuntha girls hostel. And when we talk about Vaikuntha corporate, then again, it's only for working professionals, by the way. It has to be in a corporate cluster only. It cannot be taken up in any part of the city. Let's say we are talking about Pune, it has to be in Hinjewadi. If let's say we are talking about Delhi, it has to be in Noida, Gurgaon, in the clusters. Okay. So Vaikuntha corporate, in which again there is a separate wing for boys, separate wing for girls. It's not a co-living of boys and girls.
Right. Hope that answers your question, and I really appreciate you for asking, putting all your queries forward to us. I also saw a few people raising your hand, but I'm sorry. I mean, my request is to please either you can put your queries into the Q&A box, or you can connect with us separately on the number, which I already have shared, which is 9717 683 838. So I think that's how you can get in touch with us. And I understand that. I mean, 45 minutes is not good enough to give you, the information about all the aspects of this overall business. So my request is to please get in touch with the number, which I have shared in the chat, and you can have a detailed discussion about the same. It is indeed a good opportunity. I mean, we have seen a lot of changes, a lot of reason behind choosing this business. First, it is a necessity-based business. People will always like to stay at a very nice place, which Aditya has already explained, be a student or be a working professional, right? So demand is not going anywhere. This is absolutely stable. Second, the market is still largely unorganized, which means a branded and professionally managed setup automatically has an advantage. So you are not basically entering in saturated structured market, but you are entering into a space with a clear gap. Third is the recurring income model. Unlike one-time sales business, you can generate here a monthly cash flow through occupancy, which makes it a predictable kind of business opportunity. And on top of it, when you combine right location, strong operation, and consistent demand, I think the risk gets controlled and the return becomes more reliable. So that is what this business is all about. Absolutely fantastic. Thanks so much, Aditya, for coming here today. I really appreciate for giving us the overview about the business, the opportunity. It is indeed a very, the futuristic kind of a business where we really have very less competition. So you can, of course, have the first mover advantage in your particular area. So you just need to get in touch with us. And also, thanks so much, Alankar, for coming here today, being with us, throughout this webinar. So I think that's it, for the day. Anything that you would like to add before we end this session?
I think it has been well put up, Bharat. All things have been summarized by you beautifully. Thank you very much for having us. Let's take Vaikuntha to every city, and we are finalizing at multiple places. Realtors are flocking in for the entire city. We want to build 4 hostels, so on and so forth. But we are very picky. We want to have a good education fit, good experience fit, so on and so forth. But nonetheless, it was a great session, and with a lot of professionalism, with a lot of good intent. Let's just go ahead and take it forward. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. Thanks so much, everyone. See you tomorrow once again with a new brand, and we'll explore another business opportunity. Till then, take care. Have a